Hey guys, alright, so I wanted to do the video that was supposed to be yesterday, but I got busy and I didn't realize it didn't ever get done. So this is the video going over section 2 of the IDs and SQs and review packet page and everything. So I'll do section 2 IDs, then I'll go to the page in your review packet, and then we'll go to 27-2 in the packet. Okay, all right, so section 2, we're looking at questions 6 through 9. Number 6 says, why were some people against the ERA? So the ERA is the Equal Rights Amendment, and people are against the Equal Rights Amendment because they didn't feel like women should be seen as equals in every area. A good example would be the draft. There's a lot of men and women, and this is still true today, that don't believe that women should have to sign up for the draft and be drafted into war if something ever happens and it comes to that. So that's kind of a big thing. So if women want to be seen as equals in every arena, then they would have to be okay with things like that. So that's why it didn't pass. Number 7 says, what gains have been made in women's rights since the 1960s? Better pay, better job opportunities, better educational opportunities. You see women holding more professional positions at work and higher ranking political positions. Number 8, what is NOW? It is the National Organization of Women that fight for women's equality and rights. Number 9, how did the women's movement begin? It began with Betty Friedan and other feminists who were tired of seeing women being pushed into the box of being either a housewife or a mother or both, and not having other opportunities. Okay. All right, let's go to your review packet next. And in your review packets, we are taking care of the part that says Nixon. So it's Nixon's presidency, 1 through 7 on that first page. Number 1 says, name the platform that Nixon promoted which called for a reduced role for the federal government. And this is referencing hold on, I'm struggling to figure out. That's bad. I'm having a mind blank. I did this yesterday too when I was talking about it in the, not yesterday, but Tuesday when I was talking about it in the Zoom meeting. And I don't know for some reason why I kept blanking on it. New federalism. Sorry, it's taking me a minute. New federalism is the answer. Number 2, this term describes the runaway inflation of the 70s with a poor economy. That is stagflation. Stagflation. Prices of items are going up, wages are going down, and unemployment's going up. Number 3, this event led to the severe increases in gas prices in the early 70s, and it is the oil embargo. And you can find all these answers on the page of notes that say Nixon. But that's the oil embargo. Number 4, this term describes Nixon's policy of easing tensions with our enemies, and it's détente. D-E-T-E-N-T-E. Détente. I had to think there for a minute to make sure I'm spelling it right. Détente. Number 5 says, which 2 nations did Nixon visit in his first term? And that is China and the Soviet Union. Number 6, this was the place where a burglary in the Democratic campaign headquarters would eventually lead to a president's resignation, and that is Watergate. It's the Watergate Hotel. Number 7, this was the Supreme Court case which resulted in Nixon being forced to release tape recordings of White House conversations, and that is U.S. versus Nixon. Alrighty, now let's go to your packet, 27-2 in your packet, and we'll be done for today. Number 1 says, what is feminism? And that is wanting men and women to be equal. Wanting men and women to be equal. Number 2, how did World War II provide women with greater opportunities in the workforce? They had every job open and available, so they weren't limited. every job was open. Every job needed somebody to fill it, so they had all the possibilities in the world. Number 3, what were some signs of the unequal status of women in the 1960s? They were paid less, denied credit at banks. Some clubs didn't give women membership. Number 4, who was the head of the Presidential Commission on the Status of Women? That is Eleanor Roosevelt. Every first lady kind of has their own little project, and Eleanor Roosevelt made her fight for women and minorities. So, Eleanor Roosevelt. Number 5, when was Equal Pay Act passed? 1963. Number 6, who was Betty Friedan? So, a couple of things. She is a feminist. She is a founder of NOW. She is writer of the book Feminine Mystique. Number 7 says, how did the 1964 Civil Rights Act protect women's rights? Section 7 is going to outlaw discrimination based on gender. There you go. Section 7. Number 8, what was described by Betty Friedan as the purpose of the National Organization of Women? And it was to fight for equal opportunity and choice. Equal opportunity and choice. Number 9, who was Gloria Steinem? And she was an author, feminist, and editor. Number 10, why were some women opposed to the Equal Rights Amendment? It took away traditional rights. Women could be drafted, and that's one of the bigger reasons as to why it did not pass. It eliminated special protection at work. It questioned, taking out things like maternity leave and things like that. Number 11, what was one of the notable achievements of the women's movement? And one of the bigger ones is equal education. Women were not really encouraged to go to college and to be part of professional programs like being doctors and lawyers and things like that. So that was kind of a big push. So equal rights with education and opportunities, and of course job advancements. Number 12, what was the effect of Title IX of the Educational Amendments? It eliminated schools being able to stop students from playing a sport. So a great example, we have our own Heaven Finch. A great example would be her, and if it weren't for Title IX, there's the possibility that she could have been told no, that because she's a girl she can't wrestle. But it also means that if a guy wants to play volleyball because he really likes it and would really like to sport those short shorts, Title IX says you can't stop him. All right, next, number 13, how was abortion regulated before 1973? And it was based on the individual states. That still is somewhat true. There's a lot of flexibility under Roe versus Wade that states can choose whether they allow late-term abortion. That would be a good example. North Carolina, it has to happen within the first trimester, whereas other states like New York, and I want to say California, but I'm not 100% on that one. Certain states actually do allow and make it legal for late-term abortion. Number 14, was Supreme Court case ruling legalized abortion during the first 3 months, and it is Roe versus Wade. That happens in 1973. Number 15, what educational and professional changes have occurred since the women's movement? College degrees, women working outside the home, it being more socially acceptable for women to hold jobs and have a profession versus just being a wife and mother. Number 16, where have women made the most dramatic gains? Medicine and law. All right, there you go. That is it.